The Zen of Python, writing elegant and readable code. Introduction to the Zen of Python. The Zen of Python is a collection of 19 guiding principles for writing plain, readable, and maintainable Python code. Now, one thing you need to understand about the Zen of Python is that we actually have 20 Zen of Python. But however, when we look at the Zen of Python, we only have 19 available. One of the Zen of Python is missing. And to date, that remains a mystery in Python. Nobody has been able to tell why that particular Zen of Python is missing or how it went missing. So we only have 19 Zen available, but it was actually supposed to be 20 Zen. Now, what you need to understand that the Zen of Python was actually written by Tim Peters. We were able to actually get a picture of Tim Peters here. So it was actually written by Tim Peters. And he actually wrote this Zen of Python to be fun and practical. The Zen of Python was actually documented in Python Enhancement Proposal 20, also called the PEP. PEP. What is Python Enhancement Proposal? The Python Enhancement Proposal, also known as PEP, is a design document that provides information about new features, improvements, or best practice in Python. It serves as a guideline for Python developers and helps standardize the language. So PEP is just like an information, it's a document that actually guides programmers on how the Python language should be used to actually enhance accuracy across all programmers when writing their Python languages. It also enhances improvements and it ensures that the standard of the language is actually followed. Why is the Zen of Python important? There are various reasons why the Zen of Python is very, very important. I'll take the Zen of Python to actually be like a structure, the structure of an organization. And you know that the structure actually determines a lot of things in an organization. It determines when and how salaries are being paid. It determines how employees are being hired. It determines the roles of every employee in an organization. So let's look at the Zen of Python to be just like the article of association in a company. Number one importance of the Zen of Python is one, it encourages readability and clarity. A code that follows Zen principle is easier to read, understand, and maintain. Now, for example, let's look at this. For example, as you can see that this second code is actually easier to read and understand compared to the first code. So when the Zen of Python is actually followed when writing a code, it makes the code easier to read, understand, and maintain. Promotes simplicity and maintainability. Simple and well-structured codes are easier to debug and extend. Improves collaboration and teamwork. Following Zen principles ensures that multiple developers can work on the same project with ease. Now, when the Zen of Python is actually being followed, it ensures the standard process of the language. Now, which will actually make it easier to be used by various developers across the same project with ease. How to access Zen in Python? To access Zen in Python, you use import this. So once you actually run this, import this in Python, you will see 19 principles will be displayed. Now, these principles are called the Zen of Python programming. One principle is missing in Python, which remains the mystery in Python, the Zen of Python. Now, we are going to be looking at the Zen of Python one after the other. Now, the first one we have is beautiful is better than ugly. This Zen implies that code should be artistically pleasing and easy to read. Now, how do you make your code beautiful? This could actually include maybe leaving a description of what you are actually trying to do. Let's say, for example, you're building a project and you actually want to see null values. right? So you can just comment out and say checking for null values before you actually go ahead to write your code. Why is it important? Clean code is easier to maintain, debug, and collaborate on. Explicit is better than implicit. Code should be clear about what it does, avoiding hidden meanings. Why is it important? It reduces confusion and makes debugging easier. Simple is better than complex. Write straightforward codes instead of overcomplicating things. Why is it important? Simple codes is easier to understand and maintain. Complex is better than complicated. Some problems require complexity, but that doesn't mean the solution should be messy. Why is it important? While structured complexity is manageable, chaos isn't. Flat is better than nested. Avoid excessive indentation by keeping code flat and structured. Now, we actually gave an example here. So as you can see, we gave an example here. This is actually wrong. This is actually right if we are to follow the vein of Python. Class is better than dense. Use proper spacing and avoid cramming code into one line. Now, as you can see this, as you can see in example one, there were no spaces given between the codes. As you can see here, we just have x equals to without space. There were no space, adequate and proper spacing. Unlike the second code where we have appropriate spacing. So this is wrong and this is the right way if we are to follow the Zen of Python. Readability count. Code should be written for humans first, then for machines. Readable code save time and effort in understanding and debugging. Now, let's look at this. As you can see, this first code is actually not readable because someone would not actually know what the developer is actually trying to achieve here. But when you actually see this, as you can see that the developer actually gave an explanation of what he or she is actually trying to achieve. Special cases aren't special enough to break rules. Don't create unnecessary exceptions to rules. Keep code consistent and avoid confusion. Although practicality beats purity, it is okay to break a rule if it makes the code significantly better. Pragmatism is key when applying coding principles. Errors should never pass silently. Always handle errors properly. Helps in debugging and prevents unexpected behavior. Unless explicitly silenced. Ensure that ignored errors are done purposely. So this is simply saying that we should not actually let errors pass silently unless they are purposely ignored or silenced. In the face of ambiguity, refuse temptation to gaze. When something is unclear, don't assume, make it explicit. It prevents unpredictable behavior. There should be one, and preferably only one obvious way to do it. Although that may not be obvious as first unless you are Dutch. In the face of ambiguity, refuse the temptation to guess. Now is better than never, although never is often better than right now. If the implementation is easy to explain, it may be a good idea. Namespaces are honking great ideas. Let's do more of those. Real world applications of Zen. We have various companies that actually make use of Python Zen. So we have companies like Google, Netflix, OpenAI, and Instagram. Now, how does it impact their development? It ensures they have a faster and stress-free debunking process. It ensures better collaboration, and it helps them to write scalable and reusable code. Common violations of Zen. Over overcomplicated functions, too many nested loops, ignoring perm8 style that. How to fix them? Simplify code, use functions and list comprehensions, follow best practices. What are the best practices for writing Pythonic code? Follow PEP8 style guide, use meaningful variable names, avoid deeply nested structures, write simple modular functions, Use these comprehensions when possible. Now, this is a challenge for all viewer, and the first thing you're expected to do is a piece of your own code and apply the Zen principles. Zen principles, share before and after examples in the comment. Thank you so much for watching.